Watching this Kaiju Godzilla level battle go down, all I could think of was that Vanilla Ice song, Ice Ice Baby, as it would be the perfect theme song for just the kind of frosty attack that went on there. But holy shit, like, everyone knew that he was going to deal with this threat, right? There's no way Yuji doesn't defeat Godzilla over here, and then leads into probably some deeper conspiracy, build up to an end stage of dealing with this cultist-like activity that one was targeting him, and two seems to be kind of behind everything going wrong that we've kind of experienced up to this point. And to no surprise, he also gained some legendary level armor all in the process. The thing that makes an episode like this so fun is it continues to remind me of playing a video game, right? You know, it's almost like watching a Let's Play or a streamer on Twitch, in my opinion, just in kind of anime form. And the reason I say that is when you play a video game, right? Even if it's kicking your ass at times, you never think you're not gonna beat the game, or at least that's how I feel. Even when playing Souls-like games, right? Like, I know I'm gonna get to the end eventually. And most games aren't to that degree of intensity, so if you're just casually playing an MMO or an RPG or anything of the sort, you think, oh, maybe there'll be certain areas that make me sweat a bit more, but I'm never gonna say, oh, I'm not gonna beat the game. So for me, certain shows like My Isekai Life, they fit in that category, where I'm sitting back watching someone navigate basically a video game, and I know he's gonna get to the end, know he's not gonna struggle, but the situations surrounding his actions are just so fun that even though it's a shame I can't play exactly like they are just because they're in a completely different skill level of their own, it's still hard not to have a grin on your face watching the chaos and adventures unfold, especially when you have adorable slimes, a scaredy cat proud wolf, and just a badass mechanic system with our main character connecting the dots on the fly. Like, it's not to say I want every anime not to have a threat of death or, you know, have stakes in it, but there's times where I think it's perfectly acceptable to have a show like My Isekai Life, where I know damn well Yuji's making it to the finish line. I know everyone that he wants to save will probably make it to the finish line. It's just a fun video game-like adventure, and it knows exactly what it wants to be, and the kind of charming reactions from Yuji at this point, it's hard not to get a grin, like at the end of the episode when he's exchanging his lesser, like his big lesser fire gem over here, right? Obviously, everyone with a brain knows that came from the fire dragon. Like, there's no way a lesser dragon would give off this level of quality. But he's like, yo, you know, it's a lesser. I'm trying to keep a low profile. Yeah, sure. I haven't even got your name. And he's like, I'm just trying to keep a low profile. It's just that little smirk, that little grin. It goes to show just like, he's not oblivious. He's not just like, you know, not reading the room. He just understands like, yo, if I start giving my name around, there's going to be a very common theme. Godzilla got killed here. Big Dragon over here got killed over here, right? You know, Yuji's name will continue to pop up. So he's trying to just, you know, go with the flow. He recognizes he can't just leave things to someone else because who the hell is going to deal with that, right? No one. It would just, you know, everywhere he goes, it'd be just as bad. Things would be destroyed, and he wouldn't have done anything to help, and he's not an evil bastard. So that's what I like about this, right? Is that it definitely has a sense of charm, but it feels like we're building up to a proper end-stage battle, where, as we saw at the beginning of the episode with the two men with the barrels of water on their back, we now know it was cursed water because it was supposed to make the Godzilla-like creature go into a frenzy, and probably cause even more of a ruckus than initially intended. But because we tied them up after, it was actually pretty cool that they basically weren't able to get the jump on them right away. They were like, oh shit, someone's trying to capture us, and it took a couple of times before they actually were able to do it. Kind of hilarious though, that they think they're about to get killed because you have all these slimes circling, and they literally take their cyanide pill, all things considered, and take themselves out because they don't want to be captured by this tamer that they wrote off, because they're thinking they have a fate worse than death popping up. Really, he would have just asked some questions and the slimes probably would have poked them with a stick or something, but they literally killed themselves thinking it would be far worse. Holy shit, is that not biting off more than you can chew? But I like the fact that over the course of this episode, and just the arcs in general, we've been building up this cultist plotline, and what I truly thought when it was initially in the forefront was that we would deal with it right then and there, and then we move on to a brand new arc. But instead what they did was they set a long-term goal that I feel like isn't going to be resolved until the end of episode 12. Hell, they might even use it as a sequel bait to go read the manga, go read the light novel, you know? Hope you get a season 2 potentially. And I think it's good because it's a more interesting plotline of him going from city to village, hoping to have that low-key lifestyle. Cultist level activity continues to be brought up. He tries to avoid it, has to deal with it. People want his name. He has to go to a new location. We're building up seemingly like the big area that apparently is very low-key. They keep to themselves. They don't like people prying in. Seemingly, that's where probably everything's going on, and I would imagine that's the end arc for this season. I mean, literally, one of the things he retrieves in this episode is an artificial rain generator, which apparently had the name of whatever guild it came from scratched off, so they wouldn't be, well, I guess, kind of responsible if it was used for bad things. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do, and the end of the episode definitely hints at some, not so nice things happening, and I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie, at first when I saw this dude, I was like, wait a second, is that the master that we just saw? But then I went and looked, I was like, no, this dude's facial hair is way different, but it's oddly similar, so that actually turned out to be him. That's one hell of a twist, but it just looks like a very similar character design of like old man with kind of like white sideburns and stuff like that. But damn, this episode is not holding back with the fun. I thought it was clever the way they dealt with it. I thought the whole damn situation is brilliant because that's the type of stuff gamers want to be able to do. It's just, technology and video game programming it can't live up to what we could do in the real world if we had these kind of mechanics, because the 1 in a trillion chance that a dragon would be walking across or a Godzilla-like creature would be walking across a lake and you would collect the rain in basically a barrel that's made out of all these kind of barriers that you would then launch on it to sweep it away. It just doesn't happen in that way, but it's cool to see an anime really use its mechanics to its full potential to deliver systems like that. And when you compare all the big battles that this show has shown us up to this point, they all feel drastically different. And I think when you compare the initial kind of like end stage dragon that he fought around like episode 3 or 4, whenever that was, and him getting thrown into the mountain, he literally almost died. But when you compare it to this, which could in theory be just as powerful, just as dangerous, but he has more experience under his belt, so he's a lot more careful, and he recognizes okay, if I use this attack, I'm gonna have no mana, but I do have this that will kind of recover it. So he's planning a bit better on the fly, understanding that he shouldn't get up close and personal, that he should channel all his stuff through his slimes, get Proud Wolf out of there in certain cases, and it just feels like he's learning and growing alongside the viewer. And I mean, these are the types of shows that definitely feel like someone who's not just pretending to know what video games are or what video games should look like if they were turned real with this level of detail. And I think that's what makes, a lot of people enjoying My Isekai Life coming back every single week, because it is a show that understands what it wants to be. Not trying to tell the most groundbreaking story, not trying to show the most crazy of character development, but what is there is very enjoyable, it's very solid, it doesn't try to overstep or be something it can't be. And for a first season of maybe only one season or maybe multiple seasons, we never know with these types of shows, I think it's having way more fun than a lot of shows that try to be way more serious, fall flat on its face, aren't fun in the process, aren't as serious as they're making themselves out to be, and in return you write it off in a season's time. But I'm not gonna lie, even though this wouldn't be a show that I'd be thinking about for years on end, I'm not going to forget it in a season's time, and I'm going to be crossing my fingers that we do get at least a season 2, because I think this is the type of world that could have a lot of fun with its systems and its slimes and the numerous characters you meet. There has been a lot of side characters, a lot of new personalities, and the ones that pop up from time to time, they don't overstay their welcome, and you're excited to see them if they decide to pop up again, as in the case of, hey, let's go ask our professional expert what's going on with this water. She has no other reason to stay around than disappears. Made sense for the situation, and it was nice to see a familiar face. Overall, I'm loving My Isekai Life. I really enjoy it. It's actually one of the most fun series for me to watch every week, but that's just me. Thoughts and feelings, theories on the end stages of the season down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.